In this video, I will show you many of the methods that I use to grow nutrient-rich foods without buying seeds. First of all, foods I've already eaten. Okay, growing food from waste food. So here I've got some vegetables which have gone over and some peelings. So what we've got is I've got a carrot which has started to sprout. So what I'm going to do is let this grow to gather the greens off the top, which turn into a nice big bushy thing, or allow it to seed, ready for carrot seed for next year. Now, the greens on the top, weight for weight, have got 6 times the vitamin C that the carrot has, but unfortunately they don't taste anything like as nice as a carrot. But this is a way of getting some food or seeds from waste food, and of course it's all for free then. So I'm going to take a pot with some earth in it, and just put the carrot in, so as it's only got the very top of it sitting out. That will allow it to grow. It should put new shoots out, new roots, and carry on growing. Again, we'll come back and see how that's doing in the future. The next thing is the radishes. We can do the same with, and then I've got carrot tops, like we did with the onion bottom. The carrot tops, if we put them in a tray of water and allow them to soak the water up, they'll start sprouting. The ones that sprout we can do this with again, and that will produce more carrot seed or greens. So here I'm going to take a pot with some potting compost or earth of any sort, and I'm going to take these radishes which are gone past their best. They've gone a bit soft and they've started sprouting. Not particularly good to eat, but we can get seed pods from these which are just as good and tasty to eat as the radish itself, and also get seeds for next year. So I'm just going to make a little hole in here, plant them so as the radish itself is just under the surface and the green are above. And there's another one that looks like it might have a go. We'll do the same with that one. Plant these out in the pots and then water them and come back in. They'll probably be ready in just a couple of weeks. Water them in well and leave them to do their thing. Growing edibles from waste. These are carrot tops. What we're going to do is put them in a shallow dish, plate, tray, and just put water in and allow them to sit in the water. Put them in a warm spot, in a windowsill or something, and then in a few days they should start sprouting new greens. When they sprout new greens, we should then be able to plant them and turn them into carrot plants. Okay, so today we're going to be regrowing several plants of celery from this past its best piece. So first thing we need to do is to take the celery, cut some stems off, keep the soil more moist. You give it a good watering. Make sure all the soil is moist. I'll come back and water it some more. And what I'm going to do is just pop this homemade cloche on the top of a plastic bottle over it, keep the moisture in there, and come back and see what it's like in a few days' time. Next one, tomatoes. And these are wonderful things. These have obviously gone past their best, but they're not ready for the compost yet. So we open them up, take the seeds out, put them in a pot and water them, and within a couple of weeks up come new tomato plants. So you can also slice up tomatoes and keep just a few of the seeds, eat the tomatoes, and do the same. So you get tomatoes for free. Update on the onions, grown from a half onion. I'm just putting the vegetable plot, and this is what we've got so far. Lots and lots of lovely onion greens which can be harvested and eaten now, or we can leave it and see what develops in the bottom here. It looks very much like it's going to be 4 onions. So that's one slice of onion, the root end has turned into 4 onions, or is about to. So here we are a week later, and you can see there's lots of growth. They're turning into nice little plants. These leaves could be harvested, and when they get bigger obviously you get more of a harvest, and can be eaten in salads. They're quite tasty. It's got a mild radishy taste. But in this case I'm going to leave these go until they produce seed pods, which are really tasty as well. So that's how we grow radishes from kitchen waste. Another one here. These were 2 radishes which went very soft. I didn't eat them in time. They'd been in the fridge but they'd gone soft. So I just put them in the pot here, watered them, looked after them. They've grown, then they produced flower spikes. The flower spikes then have produced seed pods. These are tasty. These taste like radishes without the earth on them, but inside of there are seeds with which we can gather and grow many more radishes. Potato peelings. So the potatoes were peeled, cooked and eaten, and then the skins have gone on to produce more potatoes. Next one is the celery. Now this was the stalk end of the celery, the bit where all the leaves join together, that came from the supermarket, and cut off all the stems and ate them, and then planted the bit that was all joined together. Only about that much of it was cut, placed in the ground here, watered, and now we've got more celery plants growing. These should self-seed and we'll have celery forever. So more tomato plants grown from the seeds. So these were just placed in the pot. There's some more here, and some of them are needing to be repotted now, but these are all from seeds of tomatoes which were eaten or had gone past their best. So the germination rate seems to be very high when you have fresh tomato seeds. You don't have to dry them or do anything else to them. Now these are red curry pumpkins, and these 3 plants here are all from seeds from a pumpkin that I had from the supermarket, which I then cooked and ate, saved the seeds, planted 3 in here, and all 3 have come up. Now I did cook this last year, so these seeds were sat in a box after drying out over the winter, but I'm sure you could do it with fresh ones. So I've eaten the food and planted the seeds, and we should get more fruit from that this year. Yeah, this is a fruit tree grown from a seed in the fruit. So you eat the fruit, keep the seed, plant the seed in a pot, water it, you get another tree. Now with apples and the like, you won't get necessarily a true apple the same as the one you had before, but it's a tree for free, and it might be even nicer than the one that you first had. And here we have the beginnings of a mandarin tree. Just a seed from the fruit, ate the fruit, saved the seed, sprouted it, and here comes the tree. So pot on the little seedlings into larger containers or in the garden and wait for tomatoes. And these are little plants from the seeds from a guava. And these were seeds saved from a butternut squash that was eaten and just planted, in more plants to come from them. And these are sweet peppers. So when you scrape the seeds out, when you're cooking them, you just put them to one side and sprout them and grow more plants. So here we have what was a half onion. Now half ate and planted the bottom half of it in the ground, or on the surface of the ground, and it grew these onion bulbs. There's 4 or 5 of them, and now I've let them go and they've developed these flowering stalks, and they produce these flowers which will turn into seed. These seeds will be collected, dried, stored and planted next summer, well, next spring, to have onions next summer. So that's onion seed from a half-eaten onion. So here we are a week later, and the soft carrot has put on lots of growth. So these carrot tops are edible, although they don't taste very good. They do have 6 times vitamin C than the carrot does, but we're going to keep these growing for a bit longer, and I'll use these probably for seed. But there we go, we'll have seeds from waste kitchen waste. So here I have half a cabbage which I'm going to try planting. You can see it's starting to put new leaf out where it was cut in half. This is the root end and that's the top, so I'm going to just plant it in the ground and see what happens. It should produce new leaves. Let's see. So I've just dug a little depression in the ground here, and I'm just going to sit this cabbage into that depression, so the base is in contact with the soil, and then just sort of surround it a bit with some earth. I'll water this and then see how it does. I've just taken the cabbage and put it in a depression in the ground, and I'll water it in and see how it does, see what happens. Okay, here we have carrot flowers which will produce seeds, and then they'll be collected and saved for next year to plant for more carrots. And these seeds came from an old carrot which was in the bottom of the cupboard and had gone soft and was no good for eating anymore, so that was planted and then allowed to grow and has produced these flowers which will then produce the seeds. Now here we have another carrot. This was an experiment to see how far it would go. It's producing flowers, so hopefully these will produce seeds. And this was just the top of a carrot that I ate. I cut the top off with the greens, ate the carrot, and then just put this one in the ground. Actually, that's pretty much all of that carrot top you can see there. That's all there was. And it's been allowed to grow and produce flowers and hopefully seeds, and then we can plant the seeds from a carrot that we've already eaten. Here we have potatoes, and these potatoes, this whole pot here, was planted in some raw compost with a little bit of finished compost on the top, and in there was placed a lot of potato peelings. So the potatoes were peeled, cooked and eaten, and then the skins have gone on to produce more potatoes. Next one is the celery. Now this was the stalk end of the celery, the bit where all the leaves join together, that came from the supermarket, and cut off all the stems and ate them, and then planted the bit that was all joined together. Only about that much of it was cut, placed in the ground here, watered, and now we've got more celery plants growing. These should self-seed and we'll have celery forever.